Hi, welcome to Nourishing Body and Soul, the podcast. Get ready to revitalize your mind, body, and soul. We're here to inspire women who are looking to break free from old patterns and ideas to create a life of increased confidence and improved health. Say goodbye to limiting beliefs and hello to new possibilities. So kick back, get ready to have some fun, and let's dive in. We'll uncover tools and insights that can help you build a life that's truly nourishing, body and soul. Hi, welcome to the podcast. I'm Tracy.
I'm Victoria.
And we're glad you're here with us today. We have a really, I think, a very fun topic today. It's something that I came across recently, and it's just put a different spin on a very familiar topic that has really made me think. So excited to share that with you today.
My magic hands.
That's the magic of what we're speaking of today.
Yes.
So, you'll probably hear out of my mouth a lot about Jamie Kern-Lima's new book, Worthy.
Is it out?
Yes.
Have you read it?
I am reading it.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Sorry. I
Yeah.
scoop.
Yeah. No. It is so good. If you haven't, it just released on Thursday, I think. Thursday, this week anyway. But it is a phenomenal book. Highly recommend. Highly recommend. One of the very first things she talks about in there is, well, if you don't know who Jamie Kern-Lima is, she is the person who, I don't know if you've heard of It Cosmetics. She started this.
Oh, It Cosmetics.
Yeah. She started this company in her living room and ended up selling it for over $1 billion to L'Oreal, became the first woman CEO of one of their brands. And so her other book, Believe It, we've referenced before, but she's just full of, if you want a positive infusion, if you want to believe in yourself, find Jamie Kern-Lima. She has a show that she's starting too, a talk show.
Oh, really?
Yeah. I don't remember where to find that, but anyway, it's starting soon. But in this book, Worthy, it is all about self-worth. She starts it with she tells a story of, like I said, she sold her company, she built her company from nothing, sold it to L'Oreal for over $1 billion. She had it all. She worked really hard. She had it all. And she just thought, she got to that point and met Oprah Winfrey had been an idol of hers for all of her growing up years. She spent a lot of time alone at home when she was young and watched Oprah every day. And so then she got to this point in her life that she actually met Oprah. And it was just like, she was so overcome with that. So here she is. She's met her idol mentor. Mm-hmm. She's got all the money. She's got a husband she loves. She's got children she adores. She's, got it all.
Yeah.
And when she had this meeting with Oprah, she had lunch with her. Mm-hmm. Oprah gave her personal cell phone number and said, "You call me anytime." Now you would think that meeting your mentor, mm-hmm. that you'd be like, "Okay, how's 10 minutes from now?"
Yeah, exactly. I'm gonna text you, "Hey, where you are now?
Yeah.
How about now?"
Yeah. Oh, I'm thinking about this. What do you think about me doing?
Yeah.
And
are you there? You up?
Is this really your phone number?
You up?
Did you really mean this?
Yeah.
If I could call you? It took her 4 years before she called her.
Well, yeah, it would be
4 years.
Pretty scary. I don't know. It'd take me a long time, I think.
She realized at that point that she had, once she finally got to the point 4 years later, she calls Oprah and she's like, "What in the heck was that? Why did it take me 4 years to call this woman that I have really my whole entire life wished that I could meet?" And that's when she recognized that what she had tons and tons of was self-confidence. Mm. But when it boiled down to it, she didn't feel like she was worthy to be a friend to someone like Oprah. So self-worth and self-confidence, two different things. What does that face for?
Because people tell me all the time, like, that I seem really self-confident, or
mm-hmm.
I seem confident, blah, blah, blah. But I don't feel that, first of all, that I feel confident, but also I didn't realize the reason why I don't feel that is because I don't have any self-worth. I mean, I don't want to say any, because he needs a lot, but my self-worth's not it's
That-
not the same level as the
as
confidence.
the confidence, yeah.
Mhm.
And this is, if you've ever had the experience where you have wanted something, whatever it was, maybe you wanted your degree, your college degree, maybe you wanted the next promotion at work, maybe you wanted to get married, maybe you wanted to have children, whatever, something, and then you arrived, you got that thing. And you were happy, maybe for a year, maybe for a month, maybe for a week, maybe for a couple of hours, but you still, even though you had this thing you wanted, there's still something inside of you that was not fulfilled. That's the self-worth. That's because especially if it's an external achievement,
Yeah.
I got the job. I got the job. And we're thinking that this job, when I've got that manager in front of my title or CEO or whatever, I've got that job, then, and then we get that, and
it's the diet thing.
It is
when you finally get
when I get to this
there,
weight, when I get to this size, this absolutely is one of
and
those
then you
things.
get there and it's like, oh, this still sucks.
Yeah, because wherever we go, we're bringing us with us.
Oh, that's good. Write that down.
That's wherever you go, you're bringing you with you.
Or maybe you don't want to write it down because you don't want to remember that.
But so self-confidence, let's talk a minute about what's the difference here? What's it? Self-confidence. And there are a lot of people that talk about self-confidence, and there's a lot of like self-improvement things that are, helping you how to figure out how to achieve your goals, and and many of them are building your self-confidence. And this is not knocking self-confidence. Self-confidence is so important. It is so important, but it's not, self-confidence alone is not going to fulfill us and help us feel like we're living the life that we're intended to live, and that we are just of value, however we are, whoever we are, that we have an innate value, excuse me, that nothing we've experienced, nothing we've done, nothing we haven't done, nothing we've said, nothing we haven't said, nothing we've accomplished, nothing we haven't accomplished, none of that touches our self-worth.
Yeah.
We have an innate value just by the fact that you are a human being. You have value.
It's so funny that, like, I've talked before. I worked with a bunch of engineers, a ton of engineers who were young and like didn't know a lot. And I was a receptionist, and then I was an assistant and whatever. So I got a lot of dates. It's not saying that whatever, but I got a lot of dates. So I had a lot of practice dating. They weren't all like winners, but I gave them 2 times. We can go on 2 dates because I figured like, everybody's going to be nervous the first date, whatever. So anyway, but there was a guy that worked with us, and he was like super shy, super shy. And he was Hawaiian, and he was tall, and he had long, dark, thick, straight, beautiful hair. And like, he was just gorgeous. And all of us, like all the admins that I worked with, we all were in love with him. His name, well, I'm not going to say his name, but his name was David. I'll say that.
His name was Gorgeous Hawaiian.
Yes, his name was, he was. Okay. So everyone wanted to date him, and we would go into his office. Sometimes I would always like try and figure out ways to like, he wasn't actually in my group. So he was in somebody else's group. So it wasn't like I could go in very often, but and there would always be 2 of us, because one of us would say to the other one, I'm going to David Yu's office. And we'd go, okay, this for years. And then, like after 4 years, we started inviting people in his group out, and he didn't ever come out with people. And then he started coming out with us. And so there's probably a group of 6 to 10 people, depending, went out. Well, I'm blah, 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 super chatty, whatever, telling dumb jokes, whatever. And like after, I don't know, several months, he asked me on a date. And I was like, David, you asked me on a date. And I didn't even tell my friends because I knew they would be so jealous. So we go to San Francisco, we go to the super Shaky restaurant, and we sit down, and I have nothing to say. Like nothing. Like I'm looking across the table and I'm thinking, no, this the only reason I told you how many dates that I used to go on, it just shows you that I was an accomplished dater. I wasn't an accomplished relationship person, but I was an accomplished dater. I couldn't think of one thing to say. All I could think of all through my head was like, David, you were sitting across from me. Like, David, you is sitting across from me. And yeah, so that went very, very badly because he asked out. He was already super shy. So who he asked out was the like person who I usually am on dates. But yeah, but that happened.
Yeah.
And I was like, I couldn't think of anything to say, like nothing. So he was left trying to start the conversation, which he was super, I forgot to say that part. The whole part was he was really, really shy too. Like hardly ever talked. We barely knew what his voice sounded like. Shy. So yeah, that I think like I got there. It wasn't like that was a goal of mine or something like, oh, I want to date David you. But like I got there and I was like, I'm not worthy
of this situation.
I'm not worthy to be sitting across from somebody that I like so much. That's such a good person. That's, you know, he was all the things, smart. He just was shy. He was smart and good looking and very sweet, did nice things for people. And I just thought, I'm not worthy of this. Like, oh, we're not worthy kind of thing.
Yeah.
That was it.
Self-worth. And it shows up in so many different ways. That's a really good example, but it shows up in so many different ways. And it's not like we either have self-worth or we don't. That's not it. It can show up in different areas, which I've shared before. When I hit a certain place, I'm the youngest of 6 kids in my family. And so I was used to being told to shut up and, you know, I felt like I wasn't really listened to. So I felt like my voice didn't have a lot of value. And that's something that as I grew up, I thought, no, you know, and I thought that I had gotten past that. So I get to a certain point in my business progress where I'm like, I just was feeling stuck. I've talked about this before. I had a few sessions with a life coach, and the life coach says to me, you're worthy of this. And when she first said it, I thought, I know, because at a base level, I have very good self-worth. I understand that there's a kind of self-worth that I have that nothing can touch. However, in this area,
there's the, you know, a spiritual divinity, you know, that supports us.
But in this area, I thought, who am I to think that people will listen to me? Am I worth listening to? And so I wasn't connecting those two because I hadn't formulated that sentence until after talking to her for a few sessions and getting kind of irritated, to be honest with you, when she kept saying to me, you're worthy of this. I'm like, I know, stop saying that. And then I realized, wait a minute, this really is a self-worth issue. And we talked about this before on the episode that we did about self-worth before. But for me, it was like, here's the baseline, and the baseline is all good. But in this area of thinking that I deserve to be heard and listened to, my self-worth was not good. And so we can have all the self-worth, and not just self-confidence, but all the self-worth in the world in some areas, and in other areas not. Or it can fluctuate some. But this is one of the differences between self-worth and self-confidence. Self-confidence can go like this, you know, it's like, I did the thing, I'm accomplished, I did it. Our self-confidence can be way up here. And then that thing can be taken away or go away or whatever. And then our self-confidence can be way down here. And so our self-confidence is a lot more volatile than our self-worth. When we have a really good, firm understanding of our value as a person, there are things that cannot touch that.
So where do we start with that? Where do we, like, I mean, because I now recognize you're right. I have confidence, and people say, oh, I have confidence, and I always think that's crazy because so where do you go?
Well, that's a really good question. Let's talk a little bit more first though about, again, some of the differences.
Oh, okay.
Because self-confidence is, because it's really important to understand, because it can be very easy to confuse the two. And we see people who we deem are successful, whatever that means. You know, if you're in the rodeo, maybe you think that the best bull rider is like the person to emulate.
Yeah.
If you're whatever your thing is, we have our own
Mhm.
definitions of success, and we view these other people that are successful, and we think, that person has value.
Mhm.
That person is somebody worthy of admiration, and they're worthy of emulation. And so we can attach all that kind of exterior meaning. Self-confidence is an external thing. When we do the things, it's much more about doing.
Mhm.
Self-confidence is, I can do this, I can accomplish that. You know, people have all the time mantras, however you pronounce the word, that are, you know, I can accomplish all things, or I can accomplish whatever, I can do hard things. And those are good,
Mhm.
but they're not being focused, they're doing focused.
Mhm.
They're external. We're very confident. I was so fascinated. I just recently watched a show about Taylor Swift. Okay, this is a woman who she started at like 12 or 14 years old,
Mhm.
growing up, and so like as accomplished as a person could be. There's no question about her accomplishment. She reached a point in her 20s where um she had, I mean, literally had hundreds of thousands of people cheering her on, buying her music, giving her all the good accolades. And you think there's a person who's got it together.
Yeah.
And I think it was just before her reputation, now, whenever that was, when things just kind of fell apart. And now people were starting to attack her and saying she's just phony baloney, and, you know, just on all different levels coming at her. And she if she like withdrew like for a year. She just pulled out of public eye. And she was in this um show that I was watching. She talked about how she had to like deconstruct a whole belief system, because she had grown up so much with the external. When you're a performer, man, you got all the external
Yeah.
input, you know, coming at you.
Mhm.
And she realized that that's where she thought her value was. And you think somebody as accomplished as her, and as good at what she does as she is, who
Mhm.
literally has all the money, all the fame, anything a person could think they wanted, basically.
Mhm.
And here she was, and she realized that she had no internal, you know, just the self-worth that was like, it doesn't matter
Mhm.
what people think. Because where she was, that was really all that mattered to her, is what people thought. And, you know, if they're buying my albums, they like them, they think I'm good. If they're coming to my shows and literally they're cheering for me, okay, they're cheering for me, I'm doing a good job. This is what I'm good at. I'm doing my good job. She had all the confidence. If you can stand up on the stage in front of that many people, you got a ton of confidence. And she had a lot of self-assurance in her skills and her abilities. But when people started coming after her and she realized that they weren't, you know, she didn't have all the support of everybody, and they were starting to say really awful things about her, coming at her from all these directions, she realized that she didn't have the core of her value as a person, that if she never sang again, if she never could play a guitar or write another song, she would
Mhm.
still have value as a person. She didn't feel that at all. It's like, this is Taylor Swift.
Yeah.
You know, this is not somebody who's trying to make it. She's there. And how she had to work through that. And that's, to me, was such a fantastic example of the difference between self-confidence, which she had all the miles of, and self-worth, which she didn't really have. She didn't have the self-worth because it was all tied up in the exterior.
Mhm. That makes sense if you were so young, especially when you're
Yeah,
so young.
especially when you're young.
That's
Yeah,
where you would get it. I
yeah.
mean, yeah, like you think that's high school.
Mhm.
She was like eighth grade or whatever.
Mhm.
You know, she was 12, like eighth grade. There's where all it would come, I would
Yeah.
imagine.
Yeah.
you
Well, and
know?
everything, and on a much smaller scale.
Mhm.
Most of us did not become world famous when we were 14 years old.
Mhm.
But you know, you come home from school, you've got the A on the report card. Most of the time, you're gonna go, "Oh, good job, let's go out for ice cream," or whatever. You know, you
Yeah.
get that is fed with
Mhm.
your accomplishments make you a good person.
Mhm.
And so we tie our value to that, not realizing that this is a good thing that we did.
Mhm.
It doesn't necessarily make us good.
Yeah.
That's not an indicator of a value as a person.
Mhm.
That's an indicator of a value of a grade.
Yeah, yeah. Mhm.
And so that just that self-worth is something that is innate. Let me see, I just want to look at these few. So confidence is external, self-worth is internal. Confidence is based much more on the doing,
Mhm.
self-worth on the being of who you really are. We can think of self-worth as the foundation, and confidence is the house that we build on it. We can have this big, 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 beautiful house, but if the foundation isn't good, that house is very
Well, like you
vulnerable.
said, it's this,
Yeah,
your levels of
right.
confidence do this.
Yeah. And so the
And
self-worth is
depending
the
on what
foundation.
aspect of your life. Like you
Yeah,
can be
yeah,
confident, like people can be confident at work, but not confident dating, or they could be,
yeah,
you know, yeah, whatever,
yeah,
something like that.
100%. There's not lasting fulfillment in self-confidence. There's lasting fulfillment in self-worth that there's nothing. I mean, and I think this is one of the things that we see from the people like Viktor Frankl and Corrie ten Boom that come from these really, the concentration camps of World War II, where they were able, in the worst of exterior circumstances, to see who they were, what was of value, what they were of value, when literally everything around them was telling them that they had no value.
Mhm.
And that's where that self-worth is what we see shine through. And we can go through the worst of circumstances and still be okay
Mhm.
when we've got really good self-worth. If we don't have that self-worth, if it's all self-confidence, then, or even mostly self-confidence, then we go through these hard experiences and it can just cut that out from under us. And we end up with this fabulous, maybe a fabulous life, but unfulfilled.
Mhm.
And then you see some people who have these, what would by societal views be viewed as very humble lives, but are very fulfilled.
Mhm.
And they have a much better idea of their self-worth. Let me see here, with self-confidence, it's part of the problem with just the self-confidence without self-worth is that we're always feeling like we have to do more, we have to be more, we have to, in order to be loved, we have to earn love.
Mhm.
We don't deserve
Mhm.
to be on the date.
Yeah, you don't
with
deserve
the
to be
cutest
with,
man at
yeah,
the corporation.
yeah, you don't, yeah, you don't deserve to be
right.
you. Oh,
Right.
whoops, I said his name.
You
No one's gonna know.
already did several times, but that's great.
Did I?
Yep.
Oh. Yeah, I couldn't help it.
So that understanding, and that's the first step. It's just
Mhm.
really to understand that there's a difference, and
Mhm.
to realize that, okay, this is where I'm self-confident. This is where I'm not self-confident. This is where I have this area, my self-worth is pretty strong, and this is where, wow, I'm lacking self-worth. And that without that self-worth,
Mhm.
it's really difficult to live a really fulfilled, enriched life, because we always feel like we just have to do better, and we have to be better, and there's something that we are missing. And that's what we're missing, is that understanding that you have value. Period. End of sentence.
So that's good to say.
Mhm.
It is good to say,
Mhm.
but that doesn't.
How do we build that?
Yeah, how do we build that? Like,
So that's
that, this sounds
yes.
like a magic formula of greatness to have great self-worth, but like I can almost tell you how you build your self-confidence in whatever area it is. But yeah, I have no idea how you build your self-worth.
Well, I'm glad you asked. And this is a teaser. We're going to leave you with a cliffhanger, because this is way too much to discuss in one episode.
Okay.
So the very first step is just understanding, and maybe taking a look at, wait a minute, where is my self-worth compared to my self-confidence? Because self-confidence, again, is something that's talked about so much. And there's program after program after program, and guru after guru after guru that can help you build your self-confidence. Yay for that. Yay for that, because we all have to feel like we're capable. But understanding that, okay, maybe I am very self-confident, but my self-worth isn't great. And so I would just invite you to consider that and kind of see where you feel like you are with that. And we will talk more about this in shortly upcoming episodes of what can we do if our self-worth, either in the areas that we need to build our self-worth, or just kind of across the board, that our self-worth is not something we've thought about and it's not something that we have really taken the time to nurture that. We'll talk about that and tools to build that in upcoming episodes. And I'll tell you that if you want to know faster than we're talking about it, that I'm not an affiliate, I get no anything for this. Get Jamie's book, Worthy.
Okay.
Go to Amazon, Jamie Kern-Lima, Worthy,
I'll
or
have to
you
do
can
that.
you can go to worthybook.com. This literally, this is a book. If I had the financial means to do it, I would buy a copy for basically anybody I talk to. It's like, please read this, please read this, please read this, because I can guarantee you, either you or someone you know, and probably both, need this book. Yeah, it is, because it is life changing when we understand that it not only, and to me, this is one of the most beautiful things about it, is that not only does it help us see ourselves differently, it helps us see other people, because when we can see our worth, we can't help but see other people's worth too. And it changes how we treat other people. It changes how we view them.
Wow.
And because of that, it is not just life changing. It literally, it can be a world changing concept.
Wow.
Literally. Big
Powerful.
stuff.
Powerful.
Yeah.
Powerful.
Yeah.
All right. Well,
Yeah.
good. I'm
Yeah.
looking forward to talking about it.
Yeah. So,
All
and this
right.
is where one more quick, I know it sounded like we were wrapping up. I was wrapping up, but then I just looked at my notes and I just remembered one more thing I want to talk about. You've heard me talk about my friend Karen, who
Yes.
I've learned so much from. And this is probably the very beginning of where I started really learning this at its core, because to look at Karen's life, she was so ill for so much of her life. There was a lot of her life where she really couldn't do much. And so working through her, I knew that however much she could do or couldn't do, it did not change her worth to me, didn't change her worth as a person at all. But she didn't always feel that, because, she's like, there's just so much I can't do.
Yeah.
I can't do. And so spending that time talking with her, seeing how her accomplishments or abilities had nothing to do with her value to me as a person. And that if she could get out of the house and if we could spend time together, hallelujah. But if she couldn't, if she was housebound, okay, that it didn't change. If she could be the one that could be there for me and do something for me, yay. If she couldn't, it didn't change at all. Her value did not change related to her health, her finances, her abilities, none of it. And so it helped me to see that it's like, okay, so that's how I value her. Took me a while to go, oh, maybe that's how people can see me too. But having those conversations with her when her self-worth was suffering, and me saying those words to her, was like, you know how it is when you're saying something that you haven't really formulated the words for, but you just think or believe, and then as soon as you say it, I am speaking the truth. I'm absolutely speaking the truth. I learned so much of that from her, and on her, for a lot of her life, she was able to see that. And so to see somebody who, by again, worldly standards, what did she ever accomplish? What did she do?
She taught people.
Yeah,
but she didn't know.
Yeah, but that's not, if you look, by world standards, okay, you teach somebody. Oh, so you're a teacher. She wasn't a teacher. Oh, so you speak in front of large crowds. No, she didn't speak in front of large crowds. None of that. But was she one of the greatest teachers that I have ever had? 100%. 100%. So that was to see that, and to look at her life and to see the value that she had, not just to me, but most all of the time to herself. There were not a lot of moments where she was really struggling with her self-worth, but that was a real blessing to see somebody who she couldn't have the big career goals because she physically wasn't capable of that. Really a chunk of her life, she was literally just fighting to stay alive.
Yeah.
That's not on my daily list of things I have to be concerned about.
Yeah.
But to see that if that's the one fight that you have, that's what a valuable fight that is, and what a value you have as a person, and to be able to see that that doesn't change a person's worth, their money, their capability, their status, their whatever. It doesn't change your self-worth. And nothing you have done, nothing you have experienced, nothing you have said, nothing you haven't said, nothing you haven't experienced, nothing you don't own, nothing can change your value as a person. Nothing. So there we go with that. Have a wonderful week.
Yep.
Nourish your body and your soul. And we'll be talking more about this soon.
Good. See you later.
Bye. Hey, if you want to help us grow this podcast that we're having fun doing, like and subscribe.
And comment.
Oh, yes.
Please comment. We will comment back.
Yes, we will. Hey, it's Tracy. If this was helpful and you'd like more, follow me on Instagram at tlastel.nourishingbodyansoul, or on Facebook or YouTube at Nourishing Body and Soul, or you can find my website at nourishingbodyssoul.com.